I'm interested in geography in terms of I like knowing where I am in relation to things and places and things around me. Why I chose to look into GIS is it incorporates that, plus what GIS has to offer is this like enormous tool set that allows you to solve a huge variety of problems. And this internship is a real life or an actual application of some of the skill sets that I've learned in the past year. So it's not classwork. It's not work I'm producing to get graded and then it disappears. It feels like the stuff I'm working on might actually be incorporated into a real life project, which is kind of cool. I'm an intern with the Gould Center, and I work with Cindy Brewer. Right now she has me working on a part of a project, part of a larger project that she's working on. My focus is, the overarching project has to do with automating map generalization through scale. My particular focus is how does scale and map generalization affect places and place names, i.e. when you're looking at different scales, what shows up on a map. What I'm doing, and I'm working with Wes Stroh, is I'm taking a case study of just Pennsylvania and trying out different techniques on giving places a hierarchy. So when it comes time to actually label a map, you have a ready-made hierarchy of what has to get labeled. Like on a map of the entire United States, out of all of Pennsylvania, the things that have to be mapped at a minimum would be Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. It's just be kind of ridiculous if like Harrisburg or State College was populated on a nationwide map before either of those two places. So by establishing a hierarchy of place, it allows map makers an easy way to label a place depending on which scale they're at. The source data that I'm using is for the place labels. It comes from the U.S. Census, and there's several different polygon layers that I'm using, and they don't fit right. They don't share the same borders all the time. And so when I realized that I had to tear everything into individual components and then rebuild the polygons how I wanted it to be rebuilt, and when I figured out how to do that, I was pretty jazzed. I like this project because it seems like a really odd and complex puzzle. And if I frame it that way in my head, it makes it a lot easier to do the work. And so maybe what I've learned about myself is, in order to take enjoyment out of work, I have to frame it the right way in my own head. I also enjoy the fact that sometimes I'll sit there and not do anything, and I'll be just thinking, trying to figure out what I want to do next. And when I'm just sitting there thinking, I feel kind of useless and I get frustrated, but then I come up with an idea and I put it into practice, and it feels cool when I do that. One of the high points of my week during the spring semester was the weekly meetings I ended up having with Cindy. I'd take her what I was able to get done on the project that I'd been working on continuously, and I felt okay about it, and I'd take it to her and she would absolutely shred it. And she'd give me a bunch of suggestions on how to improve it, and I wouldn't walk out like feeling like unhappy or that my what I thought was progress got trashed. I'd feel like the way she did it was really constructive, I guess. And just out of that, I just really had fun interacting with her. So I am a returning student. I was here at last in 2003, and I left and I joined the military. And now I came back for my last 2 years, something like that. When I came back, I was coming back in roughly the same program, but with a different mindset, which that helped me. But I came back not knowing anybody, which was a little bit crappy. So when I got this internship, the two coolest things that came out of it was the actual work, which was interesting. I've already explained how I enjoy the idea of working on a project that's real. It makes the project less onerous. It makes me feel better about what ends up being produced. The other thing is I've gotten to know this group of people that's similar. They have similar mindsets. They're working on similar projects, and that has really made my experience at Penn State like way better. When I was first going to school, I started out in mechanical engineering. Then I had several switches. I was undecided for a couple semesters, and then I was a history major for a couple semesters. And I ended up in geography because it did interest me. It seemed to tie in elements of some of the stuff that interests me in the liberal arts that I really enjoyed about history. But there was a technical side. You could do a Bachelor of Science as opposed to a Bachelor of Arts. And also there was this, when I was first coming through, people started talking about GIS, and my interest was piqued. That was the first I had heard of it, in like 2002 or something. Then I left school, and in the military, in my job, I saw some really clever applications of GIS, and I was really surprised because I had just learned of that in school, and now I'm seeing it being utilized in the real world. And I received like pretty basic GIS training in the military, and when my contract ended and I was gonna go back to school, because I was a geography major and that already interested me, and I had seen an interesting application of GIS, something that I could see myself doing. I thought it'd be a natural fit for me to go back to school and get a degree in GIS.